Welcome to the home page of our demo vendor portal. In this case, it's for a fictitious company called Garden Soul. You can see how we've branded it with their logo, their colors, and a picture that's very suitable to their business. You have full control over this. You could build a website completely independent of anything in rapidECM and use it here. And all you really need to do is add a small piece of JavaScript to a button to give us the login functionality. If we click on Login, it brings up our login screen, again branded with logos and colors as you would expect. The login that we're going to use here is our OnBase login, and all the security functionality and privileges that are related to that OnBase user account will be carried through here. Log in here as Paul Smith. Paul works for a company called Phone Shack, which is already set up on the system. He logs in and is routed to the main vendor portal screen. First thing to notice is that all the data is Phone Shack only, so from Paul's login, we are not actually doing anything, but his user account has security keywords built into it to make sure that the documents he can see and every interaction he can do are just for his role at Phone Shack. Again, you'll notice all the branding carried through for Garden Soul, even though the system is being used by their external vendors. They will use the standard Garden Soul look and feel, including the logo, the colors, and so on. At the top you have icons to log out, show the current user, and a menu to access settings, other applications, and even languages. What the main screen shows is what we call widgets, the building blocks of a rapidECM system. So let's take a look at these widgets. In the top left we have our HTML widget, and in this case it's being used to display some instructions and an overview of what is available to users within the vendor portal. It could be external links. It can even be other websites embedded into this control, should users need that. To the top right, we have a very popular widget called the table search, and this is one way we can display the results of searches against OnBase. In this case, we're asking for vendor invoices, but just below it you can see we also have purchase orders as well. The queries can be defined based on anything you can search for within OnBase. We're going to take a look at this particular widget a little more in a few moments, but for now you can see all of the Phone Shack invoices at the top and purchase orders below. If we click on a particular invoice, you go to a second page and you can see the document, in this case this particular invoice. Notice that rapidECM also carries across the underlying search widget, so that rather than going backwards and forwards to the home page, you can just expand it, click on another invoice and view that. When you're done, just hit the home icon and you go back to the home page. In the middle of the first column, we have our multi-document upload widget, and here we can define the document types and the keywords that we want to use. This allows external vendors to upload purchase orders, invoices, and any kind of document that you see fit through the portal. We can use information known about the current user. So, for example, any documents that are uploaded we know that Paul Smith is the current user, we will automatically record the vendor ID for Phone Shack, even though we're not prompting for it on the screen. In here he can put in his purchase order number, his invoice number, or any other keywords that we want to capture. If he clicks on the upload icon, he'll be prompted to find the document he wants to upload. On a phone, he can use the camera to take a photo to upload. Below, we have the FAQ widget. We can configure this without any kind of programming to come up with a set of questions, which can then be expanded to see the answer. It is one of a number of widgets aimed at taking the pressure off of the Garden Soul Central Accounts team so that they can focus on the important jobs rather than handling incoming questions. If they find a new question that particularly keeps getting asked, or perhaps something that is due to seasonal issues, they can edit the frequently asked questions to provide the answers automatically without any programming skills whatsoever to make that change. In the middle we have the Questions widget, and here you can create a custom form. The widget allows external vendors to be able to ask questions of the AP team rather than having them email or phone up, distracting your team and taking their mind off of what they're doing. They can ask a question by filling out the form and submitting it. It will drop into OnBase workflow, and then Garden Soul might, for example, put an hour a day aside where one member of the team goes and handles all incoming questions. When they have responded to the questions, the user will come back in here. They can click on the Responses tab and see the answer that came through from Garden Soul. We have one customer in particular who tells us that this widget alone saves them over 3 man-days per week in terms of the distraction that they were previously handling. Up to the top of the screen, just below the title bar, we can see 3 buttons. This is a widget called Navigator, and it can be the way that we do text menus, graphical buttons, and variations of both. Here you can see we've kind of combined the two, some text and a simple icon, to give us 3 buttons. Click on Help and the user moves to a help screen where they can read instructions and guidance on using the portal. The user clicks on the Return to Homepage button to return. The second button we set up to view other documents, such as contracts, correspondence of different kinds, changes of terms and conditions. As we click on a document, you can see that our document viewer itself is just another widget that can be incorporated onto a page. As the user clicks on different documents in the list, they are displayed in the viewer, which also provides controls such as zooming, pagination, and even rotating images that have been scanned incorrectly. Let's log out the portal, and rather than Paul Smith, we log in as another user. This time, Sue Williams, who is another one of our suppliers, from a company called Office Supply Warehouse. Sue logs in, and straight away you can see only Office Supply documents are appearing. In this case, more invoices, but most importantly, as for all document searches, just for her company. This is because rapidECM fully observes the OnBase security automatically. We log out again, and this time come in as the administrator of the system. This is probably not something we would do typically, but it will allow us to see all invoices, so there's no filter put on here. We have done this to show you in more detail the table search widget, which has some great features built into it. Information about the pagination is shown, so we can see we are showing 1 to 10 of 25 invoices on the system. At the bottom, you can see that goes across 3 pages, and we can move to the second page, the third page, and back to the first. We can change the number of documents that are available on a single page. Now, in this case, it hasn't changed the size of the widget, but it has shown us a full 25 invoices per page. You can click on column titles and sort on that particular field, like vendor name or invoice total. Notice that we've set one of the columns up here, status, to be color-coded, particularly useful for highlighting exceptions or high-priority items. Clicking on the filter icon on the title bar of the table search widget, a filter bar opens. The user is given a pick list, so they can filter just to show the exceptions. The results are filtered, and just the red exceptions are displayed. If the user goes to vendor name and starts typing, the results are automatically filtered as they type. This is extremely quick because it is performed on the client machine. It is not done on the server, so we do not need to go back to the server to re-query each time. The user clicks again on the filter icon to toggle the filter bar off. We have a number of optional features. For example, I can click on the icon and download the data as a CSV file to my local machine to take the data away. That might be something you don't want. There's just a simple flag that you can turn off, and that functionality won't be available. We hope you found the demo useful and interesting. Let's recap why rapidECM is the best tool to build a custom web or mobile portal for OnBase. rapidECM is low-code. You don't need to be a programmer to build a system with it. Some awareness of HTML and JavaScript is useful, but far from being essential. You can take the tools that we've already created for you, point them at OnBase objects, and simply create the web and mobile user interfaces you require. We have a full REST API for OnBase. We've taken the OnBase API and repackaged it, so we can use it in the front-end application. rapidECM is fully multilingual. You can switch to any language you wish. We currently support about 14 different languages, but it's very easy to add a completely new language and takes about 3 hours. We pass you a couple of files, you translate those and pass them back to us. rapidECM can be fully branded, as you've seen during the demo, with the company logo and color scheme, and so on. rapidECM is fully responsive and can work on any device that we want it to. We've talked a lot about widgets in this demonstration and showed you some of the key ones that are available to be used. But here you can see all the standard widgets that we have built into rapidECM. For example, we have a number of different ways of searching and viewing documents. We can do things like flagging the document as a favorite so you can easily find it again. We have a number of ways of uploading documents. You've seen the first, but we also have different ways of doing it. The required documents widget in particular is functionality that even OnBase can't do. We can define the profile of a packet of documents, including the rules that makes that packet valid. We can track the documents that are uploaded and flag to the users that they still haven't provided us with everything that they should have done. We can use OnBase Workflow. A couple of widgets here allow you to access workflow queues to see how many documents are in individual queues within a life cycle, and then to open those documents to see the ad hoc tasks that are available at that point. We have great support for forms. More and more of our projects require forms, and we can do that. We can either provide a list of forms for a user to pick from, or we can have a form displayed and ready to fill out. We have support for some other OnBase objects. You can take a folder that has been defined within the OnBase system and display it graphically in a tree view. This allows users to drill down to the different levels before ultimately viewing the document they need. Document info shows a great deal of information about a document, including its history, related documents, keywords, and more. A number of utility widgets allow us to just enrich the portal experience and make things easier for the user. You've seen the FAQ, questions, and HTML widgets in the demo. The navigator, as again you have seen, can be buttons, text, or both, and can be horizontal or vertical in layout. The final group of widgets is WorkView. We have support of most WorkView features. We can list WorkView classes and filters. We can, of course, execute those filters to do a search. The WorkView Filters result widget looks exactly like the table search that you've already seen, but of course shows data rather than document information. And then finally, the WorkView object allows you to open a particular record. We can either generate a default view of it or embed an HTML form to make the visual presentation of your data look much better and easier to work with. rapidECM is fully mobile ready. As it is responsive, a portal can be visible like this on a desktop screen or a laptop. The same portal on a tablet, and the same portal, but this time on a smartphone. Even rotating the phone from landscape to portrait will affect the way it's presented. The important thing here is rapidECM does all this for you. Thank you for watching. We hope it's been useful. For more information, visit our website at www.rapidecm.com or email us at info@rapidecm.com